Okay, welcome. Have you signed in, please? And if you're new to the group, please, we're videotaping, so we'll need a release so that you guys can be immortalized. Yes. For general information, Steve has successfully uploaded 4 of our previous 5 videos to the YouTube now. And so if you want to review all the previous, from 2, 3, 4, and 5 are now uploaded to West Volusia Audubon Facebook page. So if you go to YouTube, search for West Volusia Audubon, go over to playlist, you'll be able to find us under beekeeping. Oh my goodness, he brought in all kinds of literature. So,
write that down. What is it?
West Volusia Audubon. Audubon. I had to look that spelling up myself.
Pause, Audubon.
Yes, and that's the YouTube channel. It's the one with the hummingbird on it. Good morning.
And
then go under playlist, and we're listed under beekeepers.
Beekeepers?
Yes. Don't worry, you'll see it. It has this picture on it.
Okay.
So the previous 4 classes are up there. Steve and I will be redoing class number 1, which is the first one that we missed.
Redoing the class or trying to re-upload it?
We will re-videotape the class. When we do it, it's going to be a matter of when, because this is going to be a squeeze in between him and me.
You had mentioned that you were actually adding one more. This was technically the last one, but you were doing one
We're
more.
doing a number 7 for next month, which is the
Anatomy of the hive.
Thank you, the anatomy of the hive. We actually bring in 2 beehives, break them down to the pieces parts, and reassemble them one piece at a time, explaining what we're doing, what each piece is for, and how it all goes together. So it's going to be a big show and tell.
One of yours in?
Yes, I'm bringing one in my horizontal, and I'm bringing in a Langstroth vertical. We'll start off by putting the Langstroth together, explain each piece and part, how it works, what it's supposed to do, and then we'll go over and repeat the process with the horizontal hive, explaining each piece. Then I'm going to open it up and let you guys fill in all the blanks on what I missed. Okay. Now, I think everybody's here? Good. By the way, we are having technical difficulties. Every once in a while, my screen blanks out. And every once in a while, Steve turns around and tells me everything's not recording properly. Other than that, we're doing good. Yes, that's what happens when we bring upper management down. Okay. We have made it to part 6. We are assuming we have made it through the first year of your beekeeping. Now, I'm going to start off by doing a quick review. We found out that if you're going to get into beekeeping, you're going to need some equipment. First piece of equipment I recommend is a beehive. We have discussed that there's more than one type of beehive. We have vertical beehives and we have horizontal. Next month we will bring them in and show you so you can ask your questions and see what all the pieces parts mean. Then we found out it's helpful to have other equipment such as a bee suit. Highly recommended if you don't want to get stung. And by the way, I found out the hard way, getting stung hurts. So I highly recommend the bee suit. I also recommend a smoker. A smoker helps calm down the bees and gives me more confidence. So I can go in and work with the bees peacefully. I also found we need a few tools, such as a hive tool, so we can open the hive up And these are multi-purpose things. They actually have a little hook on some of them, so you can lift frames out easier without breaking your fingernails. By the way, if you happen to have a pair of bee gloves on, the tool is very handy. I also found out things like a little brush to help brush bees off are very helpful. Then we went on, after finding out we had equipment, we covered how to get bees and the best time of the year. For beekeeping, the best time to get new bees is in the springtime. That way they have the whole summer to get established. In year one, the whole purpose is to get the bees established to make it through your first winter. We talked about harvesting and the different things you can get when you're out of the beehive. And then we talked about problems in the beehive, such as pests and diseases. That gives you a real quick recap of the last 5 months. Now, we are hoping that you finally got out to the springtime, you went outside, and you opened up your hive, and yes, we have bees. Believe it or not, your first year in beekeeping is the easiest year you're going to have. The hardest part is getting them through the winter. During the winter time, the bees back off. All summer long, they've been building up. You bought a package of bees, 5,000 bees. You put them in the hive. They expanded to 50,000 bees throughout the summer. They went crazy. They built the hive up. They added wax. They grew. And then something happened called summer. We hit the summer solstice. The days started getting shorter. The days got cooler. Not yet, but we're working on it. And the bees started backing off and not laying as many bees. So when they went into winter, they actually went in with a smaller cluster of bees than they had during the summer. So if you go out there and find out there's less than you had, not a bad thing. Okay. Now, if you made it through the winter, congratulations. You have succeeded where a lot of people have not. But what happens if they didn't make it? Unfortunately, this is a reality. 30% of the hives usually do not make it through the winter for one reason or another. During the 24-25 beekeeping season, commercial beekeepers, you know, the big guys that know what they're doing, reported up to a 70% loss in their bees. So you as a new beekeeper, if you lose your bees your first year, it's normal. Don't panic, it's nothing you did.
Should we just start a bar instead?
I'm sorry?
Our odds aren't very good. Should we just start a bar or something? High risk business?
Okay, you want to know where the real money is in beekeeping? Selling it to new beekeepers.
There you go.
Yeah, they said that about the gold rush. The guys who were out looking for gold never made money. The guys supplying them made a fortune. But, okay. Now, once we made it through the winter, we have a choice. If they didn't make it through, we start all over again. But not totally without, from scratch, to put it that way. You have gained a whole year of experience. You have your equipment in place, and the bees have started building out. One of the biggest things in the first year of beekeeping is for the bees to build wax. And we learned that it takes a lot of honey, a lot of nectar to build wax. So even if you lost your bees, you're starting further along than you did on day one. You have wax and you have experience. So now we're going to turn around and jump overboard, not over, but over to the side. We're saying we survived the winter. What's going to happen inside your hive? According to us, springtime is the beginning of our beekeeping season. According to the bees, the beginning of their beekeeping season was back in December. They run by a solar calendar. I mentioned that summer solstice of June 21st, the bees started backing down. December 21st, the winter solstice, the days started getting longer. The bees pick up on that. And the queen starts moving. All fall, winter, the queen had backed off. Up north, she literally stops laying eggs. Down here, she keeps it going, but at a very reduced pace. Come December 21st, daylight starts to expand, increase our days, and we make it around that curve and we start heading back towards the sun. The queen will start picking up her activities and start laying a little bit more. She knows that spring is coming. And she also knows she has to have a workforce ready for when those first blooms hit, end of January, beginning of February. She is 6 to 8 weeks ahead of the blossoms. Because when we do bee math, we find out it takes 6 weeks, 3 weeks, for the bees from egg to hatch, and another 3 weeks from hatch to flight. So she has to plan ahead.
I have a question.
Yes.
Backing up a little bit, if your bees didn't make it, you were saying you're a little bit ahead of the game because you have a lot of stuff. If your bees didn't make it though, are you wanting to reuse that stuff, or do you think is it possible that it might be
Contaminated.
some kind of contamination that would affect the new bees?
Very good question. For those, I'm going to repeat the question. For bees that did not survive the winter, is it safe to reuse the wax and everything else? Yes. It is. If you take a few precautions. Usually what happens, anything that may have caused the bees to die, and the number one cause right now is varroa mites. Once the colony dies out, the varroa live on the bees. If the bees die, the varroa died. So therefore, there is no disease. Safest thing to do, pull that wax out, put it in a freezer for 2 to 3 days, a week. If anything survived in the hive, freezing will kill it off. Then yes, I can reuse the wax.
Then you just put it right back in just the way you took it out?
Yes. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
And it was a very good question. I love it when people think. Okay, spring buildup, we already talked about. We mentioned that the queen knows what the flowers. Here in Florida, our first blossoms start in January with maples. Red maples? Yes. Then we move on with all of our fruit trees and all that. So by February, we're not out of the woods because our last frost is still the end of February.
March.
Mm-hmm. And the bees need pollen, which means blossoms. So we're doing like that. But everything is starting to come together. The bees are working about a month ahead of the nature. They're ready to come out of the hive just as the blossoms are opening up in the tail end of January, beginning of February. It's amazing how it works out, but somebody's got a calendar and a half, coordinates everything. Wow. And with that comes our spring honey flow. Last year, everything was built up on the wax, putting winter stores aside. Yes, we're going to do that again this year. We are going to expand the hive again. We are going to go up to 50,000, 60,000 bees in this hive within 2 to 3 months. That's a lot of bees. Pollen will come in and we will get our harvest. This time, we're taking a look around maybe June and July, tail end of June and beginning of July. The hive's going to be full of honey. this is when we can actually go in and harvest some of it, but not all of it. We've got to remember the best food for the bees is honey, their honey. So leave some behind. Yay, like I say, technical difficulties. And I don't care if you're in the horizontal or the vertical hive. It's lovely to see that nice wax out there. Now, just because we are having the honey flow, it's not the only thing going on. Right now we have a queen that's laying like crazy. Hive is building up. Foragers are out foraging. The blossoms are blooming like crazy. They're bringing in nectar, turning into honey, and the hive is getting crowded. And now we find out about a new term called honeybound. That is where the bees that are bringing in honey, and they're building it from the back of the hive forward, and the queen is in the front of the hive laying in eggs moving backwards. And all of a sudden she runs out of room. Where she would have laid eggs is now filled with honey. And she won't lay eggs in the honey. And that creates, work for us. We got to expand the hive. Give her room. Because we want to keep her working, keep her happy, keep her in the box. So we get to lift the box off and add another box underneath it. Remember, that only weighs about 50, 60 pounds. This weighs about 100 pounds. Find somebody with a strong back. I'm sorry, you're out of the business. I saw you this morning with your back. Okay. So we have to start manipulating it, figuring out how we're going to do it. Remember, the two bottom boxes are for the brood. Everything else up above is for honey storage, known as supers.
And so for the horizontal one, that's back to front?
Yes. Okay, now horizontal is totally different management. Horizontal hive is fixed. I cannot take another hive and stick it on the back end of it and keep them going. That means I have to change my management a little bit. If I'm doing a horizontal, I take some of the honey out of the back and I do small honey harvests throughout the season. I take that bar of honey, put it over a bucket, cut it off and harvest it, take the empty bar and put it in the front of the hive. And giving the queen extra room in the front. So in the vertical, I'm adding down here or up on top. The upper ones we get for expansion for honey, the bottom one's expansion for the queen.
Did you just say that the top, the cap, you reuse it? You put it back? Is that what you said?
Okay, in a top bar hive, my bar is the ceiling inside the hive. So I do not have a frame in a top bar hive. I harvest the honey and the wax, leaving just the bar. The bar is replaced back into the hive because I need to have a full complement of bars to complete the ceiling of the hive. Next month, we will be bringing that hive in. You can see firsthand, look at it, touch it, question, we'll go over it. I'll go into greater detail next month on the hives themselves.
That all went over my head.
Okay, now, if we are not successful in keeping expansion going, or our timing is off, or they just decided they wanted to, they do something known as swarming. Now, this is very important, because remember when we started out, I told you that up to 60% of the hives die? This is how we get new hives. The bees want to reproduce, but they reproduce on a colony level, not the bee level. This is literally about 10,000 bees leaving your hive all at once with the queen. looking for a new home. Now, if we're lucky, we can put out traps. And if you do it right, give them the right volume, a good location, and bait it with something that attracts them, such as an extra bar of wax. Stick it inside there. It smells like home. Boom. So we have different style traps that we can use it. Then we can take these bees and put them back into our empty hive. And we can replace the ones we lost. There's all kinds of ways of doing this. Oh, by the way, if you're going to do this and you did not lose your hive, guess what you're going to need? Extra hives. Now, some people don't mind it. I have a friend, he's currently at 20 hives. Another one is at 200 hives. Down at the bee club, we had a gentleman come in, and he's down around Mim someplace. I think his name is Jeters. He only has 30 or 40,000 hives. He's a third or fourth generation beekeeper, and he's got, okay, he doesn't, okay, I stop at 2. But anyways, if you're going to capture swarms, or if you keep bees, they will split on us, they will reproduce, and it is up to you, your responsibility, not to let them go into your neighbor's house. We trap them, we split them, and now I got to find a home for them. Plan ahead. If you have bees, they will reproduce. Pest management. Okay, so far, the bees will swarm. Okay, my first swarm is usually around April. I just had a swarm last week come into my yard. It's a late fall swarm. It is.
Or one of your hives swarmed?
No, this was a wild swarm that came into my yard. My swarm. I hate to say this.
I can tell.
Okay, see, if I had 20 hives and lost 2, I only lost 10%. If you have 2 hives and lose 2, you have 100% loss. I did not pay attention to what I was doing in my backyard, and I had this pile of brush not too far from the beehives. And unbeknownst to me, a family of mice took up residence inside the pile of brush. Now, they always told me a good brush pile was good for Mother Nature. Turns out the mice like honey. Okay, now, can you see where this went? Bees don't like mice. I went out there and I said, what happened to my bees? They're not flying around. I open it up, the first one, and the bees are gone, but there's a petrified mouse on the bottom of my hive. I turned around and looked at the other one, and I says, oh. And I went this way, and there's a tail hanging out of the entrance. I lost both my hives. Harvested what I could, cleaned up what I did, all that, set it back under the motion, and said, springtime. Last week I went out to clean up around the yard a little bit more, and I got buzzed. Okay, I looked around, and now I got a grapevine right here. I says, they're coming from the grapevine because it's in bloom. And then I get buzzed over here. Then I get buzzed. I look up, and there's the hives over there, and the bees are going in and out of the hive. Oh. Got my bees back. Okay. Now,
how do you keep wasps out of them?
Okay, in my case, I lift my lid, and there's the little paper wasp right there. I take my bee brush, and I go, boom, and I knock it off. Next week, I open it up, he's there again, I go, grab my brush, knocked the nest down. After the third time, he gave up.
Okay.
Okay. By the way, I had my suit on every time.
Okay.
Yes.
In the fall, you become very proficient at homemade wasp traps. Yellowjacks love eating bees, and they go nuts because they're running out of food sources.
Is there a reason why you don't smash them? Is it because of the pheromone they give off, or are you purposely not killing them as opposed to just brushing them off?
Oh, I just brush them off.
If you're brushing off a wasp nest, they won't go back to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just noticed they have that pheromone that
Yeah.
attracts more, so I didn't know if there was a strategy there. Or
No, it was just laziness on my part.
Smash is good too.
No, like I said, just by knocking it down after the third time, and this is going on every year. I always find a few out there. I always knock them down, and I figure it's part of the game. You know, because okay, my personal philosophy: life is a balance of everything. It's in a mix. I am going to have pests. I am going to have bees. I am going to have flowers. If without it, we don't have our balance. I just try and keep it in control. Pest management. As the year goes on, when we come out of winter and we went down to the smaller thing, we had less problems. Now, as we expanded, everything expands, includes our problems. We need to keep our pest management system in place. We've gone over that before earlier, and if you really want to learn more, join the Bee Club. They go over this stuff in much greater detail than I do. We've now made it all through spring. We're taking a look around June and July. It is starting to get hot out, in case nobody noticed it. I want you to put on this bee suit in 90 some odd degrees temperature. I want you to get a can to build a fire in it. And I want you to go out to the bee yard, open up one of your hives where there's about 100,000 bees coming out at you, and I want you to take their food. It's called harvest. For some reason, beekeepers are about the most craziest group I've ever met. Who in their right mind would want to go through what I just described? Even on a bad year, I could pull 20 to 30 pounds of honey. And my beehives are not designed for high honey production. You get pure golden nectar. You get beeswax. Now we got to take and separate them. Then my wife tells me, take that beautiful beeswax out into the backyard, get our fire going, and melt it down using boiling water. And it's still 95 degrees out. Then she turns around and makes beautiful candles, and when she lights them, okay, it's worth it. Even though we're going to harvest, a beehive can make up to 100 pounds of honey a season. Don't take it all. Up north, they need 60 pounds of honey to get through the winter. Down here, we might get away with 30 or 40 pounds. If they don't use it all, guess what's left over in the springtime? And we get to take it then. If you shortchange them, and there's not enough and the conditions are not favorable for the bees to go out and find honey, they starve. Or you got to feed them. And I'll tell you a little secret right now. The number one thing that we use is sugar syrup. That's not as good as honey. Leave them that. It saves you a lot of work. You don't have to mix it up. You don't have to find feeders. If you feed them, it attracts ants and it encourages robbing and it creates. Leave them there, honey. It's easier for us.
Okay, say you take too much of it since you have, a massive
Okay, yes. If it's your honey. One of the biggest problems with feeding honey to bees is foreign honey. Honey does have some pathogens in them. It is antibacterial, antiviral, anti-everything, but it's not. So if I take somebody else's honey who has a disease in his hive that his hive is managing and bring it into mine that's not ready for it or exposed to it, I may pick up some. So, but if I use my own honey, remember that stuff you just spent all afternoon, and then put it back in the hive? Yes, you can feed back your own honey. Yes, sir.
Is wax the same thing as foundation? Can you speak about do you leave the wax sometimes for them to help with more honey production?
Okay, wax. You asked such a good question. I love this group.
Yeah, if you're getting into it,
No. There are two styles of keeping bees. One is with foundation and one is without foundation. Foundation is a guide for the bees to build their comb on. Originally, foundation was made from beeswax, but over the years, beeswax has a tendency to get hot, soft, flexible. It's not as rigid. We've replaced it with plastic. Plastic is also impressed with artificial hexagons to encourage the bees to build around the hexagon outward. You have two sizes of hexagons. One is called normal, and the other one is large. Normal size hexagons would measure about 4.9 and is more closer to what bees will build naturally in the wild. Large is expanded 5.3 millimeters per cell, and it's larger to make larger bees, to give us larger storage areas, to produce more honey. Foundationless says let the bees do what the bees feel are best for the bees. Foundation says what is easiest and better for the beekeeper. 90% of the industry uses foundation large size. I swing to the other end of the scale. I go foundationless. I put a bar that is tapered on it and tell the bees build across the point of that taper. They do for the most part. Sometimes I see them going like this, and at the tail end they go like that. And I come in and say, no, I take my knife, cut it here, and go, I want you over here. Okay, what happened to my...
He just keeps figuring it out.
It's me, technology hates me.
Yeah, but anyways, so we pushed it back in. What is better? In my opinion, I'm a natural beekeeper. I like my method. The commercial guys, if they took my beehive and threw it on the back end of the truck and tried to move it, they'd have a total mess on the bottom of the box by the time they got there. They depend on foundation. They depend on frames for transporting. If I'm a commercial business, I'm going to look at my bees totally different than I do as a backyard beekeeper. So there's a lot of this and that you're going to have to answer for yourself.
Do you leave the wax for them?
Do I leave wax for them?
Yes.
Absolutely yes. But
Would someone with foundation leave the wax for them, or would they scrape it all off? Because you're talking about leaving the honey for them. I was just wondering if you leave their wax.
Okay.
The honeycombs for them, so they don't have to rebuild them.
now at this point, we're going to deviate if you guys don't mind. His answer is good. Questions are good. I did not cover this in different areas, so I'm going to cover it here. In a foundationless situation, mine, I cut all the old wax off, harvest honey and wax. I use a crush and strain process. I literally put it in a colander, take a potato masher and smash it, let all the honey drain out, clean the wax up, give it to my wife. Commercial, he has a plastic guide down the center, wax on both ends. The bees build the wax out, fill it with honey, and then cap it. I now take that frame out, and I have to cut that capping off on both sides. I then take that frame with honey in it, put it into an extractor, and spin it to throw that wax out, pull it out, reverse it, spin it again because both sides are tapered.
Can you just use one of those plastic storage bins and put a nozzle on it or something like that if you don't have an extractor?
Okay. Yes.
Take forever?
Yes. Because you got to remember, both of them are down like this.
You just light a fire.
So you got to turn it upside down and let them drain out, and it could take a day or two for it to drain all out using gravity. Centrifugal force is fantastic. It's also expensive to buy but there's another way around that. Instead of just cutting the capping off, we can actually take like a putty knife and get on the bottom, take all of the waxing off. And then you're back to my style of harvesting. Then you go ahead. Then you take that empty frame, clean it up. We actually take it out into the bee yard and let the bees clean up the residue off of the frame. It's a way of recycling. Okay, in the commercial, they just cut the capping off, spin it, put it out, let the bees clean it up, and put it back in the hive. If you have too many frames, because we said in the wintertime the bees condense, we harvested, you're going to have to store those frames over the winter. If you're storing them, store them in such a place where the wax moths cannot get into them. Otherwise, the wax moths will destroy it. Moth, M-O-T-H. Yeah, it's a moth that flies in and eats the wax in the beehive. Yeah, one of the pests we covered. Okay. Did that answer your question?
Clean all the wax off of it when you put them out for them? If you put a frame out there, did the bees clean all the wax off of it, or did they just
They clean all the honey out of it.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And then they leave the cells behind. I have seen sometimes that they will also harvest some of the wax itself and reuse it.
Do you scrape everything clean before you store it, so you don't get wax moths in your garage?
Yes.
And you seal it because they'll find their way in.
Yeah, if you got big totes, put them in a tote, yeah, you don't want anything getting in there. Starting in midsummer, the bees are going to start transitioning for winter. June 21st, summer solstice, the queen notices it. She knows she's got 6 weeks for things to start changing. The bees are literally different in the wintertime compared to summertime. They have more fat bodies in them. They're capable of living longer. Up north, when they go into a winter, your bees can live up to 3 months in a semi-hibernation state. Their activities drop. They don't leave the hive. They don't fly. Down here, we're not quite so cold. Winter bees are more protective of their stores than summer bees, because summer bees' job is to gather. Winter bees are to protect. Your bees can become a little bit more ornery in the second half of the year. This is also when they're bringing in and capping it, going for their 60 pounds of honey, or in our case, 30 pounds of honey for the winter. Dum, 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 dum. Another thing happens right around August and September. Did you know that blossoms don't really produce a lot of nectar after it gets over 90 degrees? You may have blooms, but there's not that much nectar for the bees to collect. pollination drops off. That's why we leave a little bit of honey, because right now the bees are starting to eat some of their stores. Then, around September, October, we have something else that comes in. You ever hear of the rainy season? Guess what rain does to pollen? It washes it off. Then we go into winter. Why might my bees be upset? The queen also knows that it's time, because of reduced daylight, reduced amount of food coming in, it's time to reduce the size of the hive. Guess who goes first? The guys. They are considered non-productive. Their main purpose in the hive is reproduction, and they did that back in the springtime. So the queen, the colony, starts looking at the guys and saying, it was nice knowing you, but okay. We have now come towards the end of our season. The bees are calming down. There's not much for us to do except clean up all of our equipment and get ready for next year and plant. We found out that as the bees go throughout their season, they increase. So do not start with a 2-box hive. You will need a couple of more to go along. And if you got more than one hive, get ready with your equipment. It's going to need to be cleaned up. If you're doing frames, winter time is preparation time in the bee yard. We've pulled all of our old equipment. We're cleaning it up. I'm taking my old bars out. I'll scrape them down. I'll dip them in hot boiling water to sterilize them a little bit, get a coating of wax on them, which is kind of attractive to the bees, to get ready to set them back out again. You may want to build new frames or boxes. You go through all of your equipment.
Can you use a blowtorch?
Yes. That is a fantastic way, especially if the box is totally empty. Torching it is a fantastic way. Wax moths will leave cocoons and larvae, sometimes tucked in the corners and sides. It also helps seal it and preserve the box in the wood. Torching is a fantastic way.
You said don't start with a 2-part box. Do you mean like don't start with nothing, only 2 boxes in your ownership, or do you mean don't start with just 2 boxes?
Don't start with only 2 boxes in your ownership. Yes. You do not want to give the bees too much space. They don't like, let's put it this way. If I got a small colony of bees, 10,000 bees, which I just got in on a nuke, and I put them in a 2 or 3 deep box, they only have enough woman power, to heat, control, and manage 1 box. But as the summer goes on and they expand to 50,000 bees, I have to have the equipment ready to give them the room for expansion.
Is your second box a brood box or a super?
I usually start with a brood box and 1 super. So I can start out with a brood box and a super. Then it goes to 2 brood boxes and a super. Then 2 brood boxes, 2 supers. You with me on that?
Yes.
Good.
But
Oh.
I don't know the order. I've heard of the discrepancy between the order, right? You got some people that expand upward. I guess they don't go downward, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now there's a big debate on that one. In my world, I go natural. I look at a tree and say the bees start up here and build downward. You go to a commercial hive, they say, we're putting the queen down here and we're going to build upward. Okay.
They can go either way?
They go where their space is.
Okay.
Now, In the horizontal hive, I move from left to right or right to left, depending on how you set up your hive. So I always say, I start at the front where the entrance is, that's where the queen and the brood is, and then I move backwards into the hive. And then, because I do not use a queen excluder, I have no distinction between a brood chamber and a super or honey chamber. I let the bees tell me.
You're in the minority in every category and do everything the most difficult way, huh?
Yes, I'm the odd man out. Okay.
So, but back to so with the box version, you're adding boxes, but
Yes.
your horizontal one is a size.
Yes, it's fixed. Now, my horizontal one has what I call a divider board. So I put the divider board in, let's say, slot number 6, and it has 5 bars and a divider board. As they expand, I move my divider board back to slot number 10. Now I got 9 bars, and I can keep doing that all the way up to size 30 bars. And if you pay attention to his hive that he just did 10, 10, and 10, he's up to 30. Now, if it gets really wild, he's got to add another box, which is 10 more, where he's up to 40. I got to take 10 out, put him in the front, and move it. So I'm playing shuffle, he's playing add. Who's easier? Until it comes harvest time, and now he's got all those 50-pound boxes up there. And I'm doing 5 pounds at a time. Okay, he's younger than I am. I'm sorry, he can do it. Nothing wrong with that. Now you know why I'm in the minority.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, anyway, sorry, that makes perfect logical sense.
Okay, yeah, it's not that you're doing, yes, you're doing the typical beekeeping. And yes, I do know about it. I have 200 friends that do it that way, and I got 2 friends who do it my way.
Absolutely. You're bee sensei.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, the bees are still the bees. And as I tell people down at the club, there's 2 things about keeping you're going to find out. Number 1, it's local. Bees only fly 2 miles around their hive. So how I have my bees in my backyard and how you have yours, you live over in Lake Helen, right?
I don't live there, but that's where I'm going to put my
Okay, you're 10 miles away. My bees and your bees will never see each other. They'll never meet. But your conditions are different over there than I have mine here inside the city. You've got different flora. You got different conditions. Now I got a friend who lives down over in New Smyrna Beach, on the beach side. His situation's totally different, and we're no more than 20 miles apart. Now you take a look, and let's bring somebody down from Michigan. Their conditions are totally different. So beekeeping is local, and so local, you and I are going to have different conditions. But they're all going to have similar traits and actions to them. The other thing, it's personal. We've already noticed that. I keep mine this way, you keep yours that way. My attitude is different, but are you right or wrong? It doesn't matter, it's you. It's what's going to work best for you. Because I'm going to tell you, year 2 is going to be different than year 1 for you. And year 3 will be different than year 2. Because you will go in there and say, I learned this and I learned this, and I learned that this doesn't work, but this does. Oh, this was easier for me than that was. So by year 4 or 5, if you make it that far, I hate to say this, most beekeepers don't make it past year 3. Oh, let me see.
It's hard.
It's hard.
There's a lot to learn.
They deserve you.
Yeah, I've been at this for 13 years. I got a whole bookshelf of books. I belong to the associations. I go teach classes, and I learn something every day. I mean, for that tiny little insect, my God, is it complicated.
There's unknown variables and you're constantly running.
Yeah, and the fun part is, I come in here, and he and I start talking, and we're going to find out we have this much alike. but we have this much different. And who's right and who's wrong? We're both right or we're both wrong. And what works is what works. All we can do is find out the best approach to it. We need basics. That's what I do. And then we get together and we talk afterwards and figure it out. That's why I recommend going down to the bee club. There's other beekeepers. I'll walk in there and they go, oh God, not again. You know. Why? I'm odd man out. But yet we had a discussion panel. Guess who was sitting on the panel? I invite. Why? Because I'm odd man out and I give them something different to think about. And we need that open thought. I don't want to teach you what to think. I want to teach you how to think. Why? Because your situation is going to be different than mine. And I want you to be able to come up with a solution.
How long is the typical for like a hive duration with a single like user? Like, do they end up swarming in year 1, 2, 3, or is there some that just have to move on eventually?
Okay.
And you keep them for 20 years.
Boy, these people ask good questions. Okay, what is the typical lifespan of a colony, if I understood the question? Okay. No. I got the microphone. Okay.
Do you measure by generations of queens?
Okay. I'm trying to frame this answer because it's such a complicated answer. Queens can live up to 3 to 5 years according to all of my books that I have. Remember, I got that bookshelf at home. Today's typical recommendation is to requeen your hive or your queen, replace your queen every 6 months to a year. Okay, that's a big difference. Colonies do not normally swarm in their first year. Year 1 is establishment. Colonies can survive on an ongoing basis up to 6 to 8 years. And typically, they stop that because they run out of room in where they're at, especially in the wild. Beehives are limited, fixed. You can keep it going with the same bees, theoretically, indefinitely, by replacing the queen periodically and always cycling your boxes. Bees only live 6 to 8 weeks in the summertime, up to 3 months in the wintertime up north. So yes, we always have a perpetual turnover.
How do we keep the queen from swarming? Because it's natural, I read, for them to take half the colony and try and take off. But do you have to kill the queen cells, or is she going to take care of that herself?
I like this guy.
They desert you, right?
Okay.
6 months, like they try and take off on you? Just
But don't
naturally
they,
to divide?
before they do that though, don't they, haven't they already created a new queen for the part of the hive that's staying?
Yes.
Because it's splitting, right?
You gotta be quiet.
It's like a cell or something.
Okay.
I think before they swarm, like your current queen leaves with half the hive, but she's already left a queen to take her place behind. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Just to catch them, like he was saying. Too.
Okay. Now, we're going to talk management.
Your hive, or-
Okay.
right?
No, please, let me answer.
No, you cannot answer it, Tim.
Is the strategy to keep them from leaving or catch them?
Okay. Answer is yes and yes. Okay. Going into management, we have a technique known as splitting hives. That is getting to the point where we are noticing that the hive is starting to build up, everything's going good, and we want to get it before they build the replacement queen cells, and we actually take and say, I'm going to remove 3 bars of brood out of the brood chamber, put it in a brand new box, and let them now have 3 empty frames. All of a sudden, ooh, we got room.
How many frames total?
Take at least 3.
Occupied, like, and then
Yeah, something
have
would.
all the other frames already in the brood box, the other 7?
Yes.
Ready
You got 7 in there. I'm going to take 3 out, and I want them to be open brood, meaning eggs and larvae. Okay, and grab something with a little bit of honey on it also. That might be your 4th. Take that and put it over here so they have something to eat. If it's open brood, you have nurse bees on it because they've been feeding the brood. If the queen is with her, with those 4 frames, everything's fine. If she's over here, no more queen, you still have brood, open brood, you got eggs. The workers are going to say, oh, the queen is gone. We put her over there. We'll make a new one. And they make it. Now we have 2 hives split, no swarm, and everything's hunky-dory.
You can identify the eggs in order to make sure you leave them?
Yes. Now it helps if you've got a magnifying glass and poor eyesight. I got this neat little new tool. It was a kid's toy. And it's a nice little thing. It's got a little 2-inch screen on it, and it magnifies 1,000 times. And it's got its own little LED light on it. I push a button, put it on top of it, and poof, I can see. Believe me, that's a big thing for me. Okay, so yes, we get the bees. We can split the hive. We now created our 2 new hives, no swarm.
So is that the same process when you said you're trying to replace your queen? 6 months you said down here?
Okay, that's a different
Same
technique.
process?
Okay, if we're going to replace our queen, it's with the theory that first-year queens do not swarm. Okay, so at the end of the year, I go in there and I look. Ah, there she is.
Oh,
And I take a new one and I put her in.
from someplace else, or you have?
You order it or you make your own queen. Now we're getting into technical. I mean, that's advanced queen raising. So we can turn around and say once a year, well, I'm just going to automatically look for that queen, take her out, smash her, or get in a new queen and put her in her place. And seeing she's a first-year queens don't swarm. So the theory is.
The question is she a first-year queen? Because there are unscrupulous queen producers who are giving you their old queens that have already done a year of production.
Yes. So the best queens to replace them with
No idea.
are your own queens. Yeah. So
And
no.
they're kind of doing that on the regular anyway, right?
Yeah, well, let me put it this way. I have over than 13 years I have bought. Okay, that's how many queens I have bought.
Is it based, the decision to requeen or the decision to split, is that based on something physical going on in the hive, or is it just based on the length of time that queen's been around?
Both. Okay, one theory says 12 months, new queen, no swarm. The other one says I'm going to keep inspecting my hive and I'm going to keep my queen as long as possible. When I pull out a frame of brood, I'm looking for a laying pattern. And I want to see the queen go from cell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And she's just laying like a little trooper over there, and it's a nice full pattern. Now, if I pick that up and I take a look and say 1, 7, 9, 4, she's a weak queen. She's laying in a weak pattern. She's running out of sperm.
How the hell did human beings figure that out?
Yeah. So I'm over there taking a look and saying, she's good, I'm keeping her. This one, oh God, she's not doing her job. Send out the ad, get the new queen in, find her, go squish, poof, I'm done. So yes, your question was 2-part, your answer was yes, yes.
Got it. I like the second thought.
How do you know that a queen is running out of sperm? It's real simple. All they do is lay drones.
Yeah,
In a drone, okay. I used to see pictures of all this stuff in order to be able to.
yeah, the drone cell have,
Egg versus the queen.
looks like the eraser of an end of a pencil. I mean, they actually go little dums.
That's a drone. It looks like the eraser.
Yeah, and when you take a look at a worker one, it's just kind of like this, little bumpy in the road, you know.
Queen replacement looks like.
It looks like a peanut hanging upside down in the bottom of the cell. I mean, about that size. And
Your whole thumb?
just about.
It's that big?
Just about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and if it's a swarm cell, it's down here on the bottom of the frame.
If it's a swarm cell,
Yes.
that's getting ready to bamboozle?
It's on the bottom of the frame. Now, if it's a supersedure one, it's in the middle of the frame.
A what?
Supersedure.
What's that?
That means the queen failed, or the colony decided they didn't like that queen, and they need a new one. So they take an existing egg, boom, and start it, and feed it, and then they get rid of the old one. Now, here's the fun part. Remember that scrupulous guy that sold us that queen that was no good? The bees knew it. You just spent $35, $40, $50, bought a new queen, you put her in there, and guess what the bees did?
But they won't decide to do that on their own.
They will do that on their own.
Controversial in bee world, tread lightly. Tread lightly.
Remember, I told you I've been doing this for 13 years and I'm still learning. Okay,
If there's anything wrong with the queen, they will get rid of her toot sweet.
yeah. No, you got to remember, nature's intent is survival, reproduction. The bees know how to reproduce. They've been doing this for millions of years. You know, we're the ones who go in there and mess everything up. They know what they're doing. Yeah, so, any other questions at this point?
I got 4, but I'll let anybody else.
I'm sorry,
I have 4. I mean, seriously.
no, go ahead, as long as you guys don't mind.
No, it's fine, I asked you in the first question,
I
for the first classes.
Queen excluders, you said you don't use them, so I remember you saying you mark your bee, right? Your queen?
No, I do not.
Oh, okay. I thought I remembered.
He does.
Can you tag bees?
What?
Can you tag a bee? Like you can mark a queen bee?
Oh, heavens, yes.
With what?
A little marking pen, little piece of paint.
There's a color code system.
Yeah,
You just have to search for
They
her
are
because you don't exclude her.
yes,
Very closely.
She doesn't lay eggs in your honey?
no,
She stays down.
yes,
Okay, so why do people use a queen excluder then?
because it's convenient for the beekeeper and the honey harvest.
Grab them out, you need to swarm them or to move them or whatever.
Yeah. See, the whole concept is if I give the bee, the queen, free reign of the whole hive.
Yes.
Okay, so we got box number 1 brood, box number 2 brood, queen excluder, honey super, box number 3. If the queen, now in my case, I got 30 bars. Right now, I'd say 18 of them on one hive, 22 on another hive, and 4 on the other hive. Okay, 4 is the one I just got last week. So the bees, depending on how strong the hive is, might only need 18 frames of brood, or 15. Or if it's a really strong one, and I'm going to get a 100,000 bee colony, she might need 22 or 23 frames of brood. I say, go for it. When I open up my hive, I pick it up bar at a time, brood, 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 and once I hit honey, the queen does not lay on a bar of honey.